We are joined here with Alec Wyble Meza, running back out of Northern Arizona University. We couldn't be more excited. Alec, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Oh yeah, thank you guys for having me on. You guys are awesome.
This is fantastic. A lot to get to here today, here with Alec. For those who don't know, Alec, just give us a brief introduction here for the people listening that maybe haven't heard of you before, kind of where you're at, kind of where you're playing, just so they can kind of get to know you here real quick.
Yeah, I'm a running back at Northern Arizona University. We are a Division 1 FCS football program. In the Big Sky Conference, they call our conference the SEC of the FCS level, and we play good football. 2 years ago, we beat U of A, and we play them again this year. So hopefully, we can knock them off again. But yeah, I play running back up here in Flagstaff, Arizona, and we got a beautiful campus, beautiful facilities, and a big time football program. And yeah, I love playing here. It's really great. We play at a high level.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Love it playing at a high level. So, Alec, we just got a couple questions here for you to get it kind of started off here. I'm also joined here with Chase. Chase, you want to go ahead and start off with a couple questions here for our friend Alec?
Sure, absolutely. So the first question as a running back, right? We all do this. Even people, I played just a couple years of high school ball, but what would be your NFL comp as a running back? Who's your guy that you modeled your game after?
Ooh, so I would say there's one guy that I really love. His name is DeAndre Swift from the Lions. He's super explosive and he has a nasty just one cut dead leg. He's really good at that. So I've been working on that a lot this offseason. And he's kind of near my height and my weight. So I try to emulate my game after him. I love watching that dude play. He can catch passes out of the backfield, and that's something he's really good at. So I pride myself in being able to catch the ball out of the backfield and try to make people miss out there and be as versatile as possible. So yeah, definitely DeAndre Swift.
Awesome, awesome. I like DeAndre. He's a good running back, so good pick.
Yeah, he does good things for the Lions.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly,
When he's healthy, that's where you got him beat, Alec. When he's healthy, that's where you got him beat.
Yeah, exactly. Try to stay as healthy as possible. Healthy as possible.
That's good. That leads me into a question here. So that is, in a full season, week games, games week after week. What is it that you do kind of at a health level, at a strength and conditioning level, at a recovery level to help keep you, fit and active and being able to be available to play week in and week out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think something I've learned as I've gotten older, the best thing you could do, I have a pretty good recovery routine, but the best thing that you could do is getting 8 hours of sleep. We're in spring camp right now, and we're in our last week, and I've really been strict this camp about like getting 8 hours and taking a 20-minute nap every day. That's made a crazy difference just in the way I feel, my awareness, just being able to pay attention in meetings. That's the first thing. And then I hop on. We have these Normatec boots in our training room. You just slide those bad boys on, and they help flush out your legs and keep them nice and fresh. And so I'm always on those every day for 20 to 30 minutes, just depending on the day. And then every day after practice, I take an ice bath, and that ice bath is a lifesaver. That ice bath, I believe an ice bath can cure pretty much anything. I'm a big so constantly sleeping right, and on the Normatec boots and taking an ice bath. Those three things for me are really, really my go-tos. And then another thing that I really love, I learned to love it in high school, is I do yoga daily. So 30 minutes of yoga daily. To me, I feel like there's times where I've been bent up in a pile in an awkward way, and I'm like, if I didn't do yoga, I think I would be injured right now, just because you just get moved and twisted up in different ways. So yoga is a lifesaver for me. That's another one of my go-tos. And then I have a massage gun that I use every day, so I'm using that bad boy all the time. So all those kind of things are kind of my go-tos of staying healthy.
yeah, yeah. But we say all the time on this podcast, the best ability is availability. So staying healthy is crucial. So that brings me to my next question. Yep, yep. So that brings me to my next question. As you mentioned, you're in spring training. How long is a football season for you, right? As a fan, we watch, the college football ends in in December, January for a few teams, and the NFL season ends, in February. How long is your football season?
Oh man. So for the fall, um we start fall camp like July 31st, August 1st. This year we're starting at August 1st. So we'll check in on the 31st and like have a team meeting, and then the next day on August 1st is when we start fall camp. Fall camp usually lasts about at least 3 to 4 weeks. And then so that's super intense because you're practicing every day, you're having long meetings, and you're competing against each other. It's good on good. During the season, during when we're playing games, we won't really do good on good. It'll be like the offense versus the scout team defense, and then the defense will be playing the scout team offense. So it's a little bit easier. You're more so focused on like um, the team that you're playing against. But during fall camp is rough because it's good on good every day. It's all a competition, trying to win jobs, and so you go through that phase of the season, and then you get into game week. And once you get into the first week of a game, we have 12 games this year, and that'll go by in a flash because you're just doing the same thing every day with meetings, practice. Then you have school that you got to take care of, and you have that routine. And so it feels like forever. By the time the season is over, you're kind of ready for it to be over, and you're like, okay, I need a break. Like this is gonna be great. So yeah, we start from August 1st all the way through um all the way through the end of November. And then if you make the playoffs in FCS, we have a playoff structure. So if you make the playoffs, it could be even longer. It could be all the way to the end of December, early January. I believe the FCS championship is played it's in January. So the season could be really, really long for you. So got to make sure you're taking care of yourself physically and mentally because it's easy to get burnt out.
Yeah. And so another question too is something that I've always kind of wondered about is how you balance academics and athletics, right? You are a student athlete, and so how does that mix? Is it does that overwhelm you from the academic side? Are they pretty good about providing help with tutors or get you in the easy classes, right? So you don't have to focus on it. I kind of have my take on kind of what happens there, but as someone who's in it, how does that balance kind of work out being a student?
Guys who are majoring in business or chemistry. We have a couple guys on the team who they take their academics pretty seriously. Our school, we're very lucky. We have a whole second floor of our building. We have a 3-floor athletic building that costs, I think it was like $70 million that they put in, and the whole second floor is dedicated to just academics. So we have a person who her entire job is to make our schedules and formulate those around our practice schedules so there's never any conflict, and that's not something that we have to do ourselves, which is really helpful, and that's definitely a blessing of being an athlete. You get that done for you. You don't have to worry about wait lists. They just move you right on there, so that's really, really nice, a good benefit. But yeah, they we have tons of tutors on our second floor, and her name is Mary. She's in charge of all of our academics. She's really great about getting us tutors when we need to, and if our GPA is dropping a little low, she's really good at communicating with us and like, hey, your GPA is dropping down. What do we need to do to help you? Is there anything that you need? We have so many resources here, and but for me personally, to balance it all out, it's just really about trying to eliminate wasting time. You can't really afford it. So it's kind of rough in the beginning, I would say your freshman year, because you're trying to learn the playbook and really get a hold of that and get comfortable. As you get older, I feel like it gets easier because you don't have to spend so much time studying your playbook. So once you get the playbook down, you're able to just kind of dedicate more time and focus into your school efforts. For me personally, I have a pretty routine schedule. That's how I like my schedule. And I know like okay, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I only have one class. So I need to be doing homework as much as possible before we have meetings. We have our meetings at 2:30, and football has us from 2:30, and I get home at like 7:45, 8, depending on the day. So when I wake up we have a lift in the morning at at 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. So in between those hours, I'll be doing schoolwork. I can't afford to slack off, or else your GPA suffers. So it'll show if you slack off.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, switch back to the football side of the student athlete, right? The athlete side. Tell us about your locker room, right? We hear it all the time about scouts. You know, this guy's a leader in the locker room. This guy's locker room cancer, right? There's how important is your culture in the locker room?
Oh man, we just had a long team meeting about this today. Actually, I think that's one of your culture and your locker room culture is one of the most important things on a team, because you can start dividing up into cliques and having certain groups feel one way. One group likes coach, one group doesn't like what coach is doing. You can, I think last year we had a problem with this. We had guys blaming each other for different things, and that can destroy your team. So you have to be unified in there, and you have to know who your leaders are, and you have to have those leaders really step up and voice things when things are going wrong, because when there's a locker room cancer, it spreads, and it can spread really fast. You get guys agreeing like, yeah, coach isn't doing this right, like, why are we doing this, this is dumb, why is so and so playing, this other guy should be playing. You need everybody bought in to win. The best teams are player led teams, and they have their locker room on point. They have guys policing each other. Coach doesn't need to come in the locker room and just police everything. It doesn't work. You got to have guys, your leaders on your team, like checking stuff and making sure nothing is going bad. Nobody's getting out of line. Like, we all have to be on the same page if we're gonna win. That it's super important.
I love that. I love that. Honestly, reminds me kind of what we just recently witnessed here at the combine when Nolan Smith was performing, and you saw all of his guys in the locker room watching him and cheering him on. It's like, man, that guy's a locker room guy, and so I think that's something super important, and it kind of reflects throughout the team. You see a lot of people like we saw in basketball. You got teammates shoving each other the other night. There with Rudy Gobert, and then we're shoving
Yeah.
hard to win whenever you guys aren't together as a team. So I love that. I love that mentality that you guys have. So focusing more here, kind of on just kind of your personal experiences, right? I'm curious to know, like when you first got to college, what was kind of your welcome to college moment when you realized, like, man, this isn't high school football anymore. This is college. This really is the next level.
So I played 1 year at BYU, and then I ended up transferring to a junior college in Florida, spending a year out there, and then I ended up at NAU. So I would say it would definitely was at BYU, and we had a defensive lineman. His name is Kairos Tonga. He played for the Bears, and I believe he's on the Vikings now. And he's a mammoth of a man. He is super tall and super yoked. I believe he was 6'4", like 325 when he was at BYU.
Wow.
Was giant of a dude, and I had broken a run off in practice, and I was feeling good. And our head coach Kalani Sataki yelled at the defense and got on him. And Kyrus is the type of dude, he could really get through the line whenever he felt like it. He was that good and that strong. And the next play, I remember getting a handoff, and just seeing Kyrus throw the lineman in front of him, and it was just me and him, and I was like, "Oh man!" And I remember him grabbing me and picking me up like a rag doll and just throwing me, and I was like, "Wow!" Like, there was nothing I could do about it. Like, he just decided that he was gonna grab me and throw me, and there was nothing anybody could do to stop him. That was kind of a wow moment for me. I felt a little helpless, and I was like, "Geez, like, this is crazy." That was definitely welcome to college moment for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So that brings me to my next question is how much of the playbook do you have to know as a running back? Do you just know your plays? Do you know what the wide receivers are doing on your plays? What aspect of do you have to know the defensive playbook, right? Where do you draw the line in understanding the playbook, or do you draw it? Do you know all of it?
So for me, when I first got to NAU, I got here right at the beginning of fall camp last year. So I was like, I need to learn, first things first, I need to learn running back, just straight running back position. Nothing else matters, I could so that I could get reps, and when I'm in those reps, I'm not messing up. So that was my first step. I kind of break it down, or I could learn running back, And then after feel like I have running back mastered, I try to learn the slot positions, our H and our Y, so that I could be thrown in at receiver as well. If they want to have 21 personnel with two running backs, I want to be in there on the field all the time, because the more I'm on the field, the more opportunity I have to make plays, and just the more better opportunity I feel like we have to win. So I love to be in the slot position and run routes and catch balls and just get all-purpose yards. I think all-purpose yards are great. That's something that DeAndre Swift is also really good at. He's really good at running routes and creating different mismatches. It's good. It's good for the offense. So I try to learn all the slot. And then if you can get that, I love to know what the offensive lineman is doing, because if I know what every single offensive lineman, what their position is and what job they have to do for each and every play, it can make me a better running back, because I know where, like on a counter play, I know where my second puller is supposed to be and who he's supposed to get. So if I can know that, I could be in a better position to make a better play, because I know where he's supposed to be. So just those little things. If I can know those three, I feel like you're in a good spot.
To learn.
Takes time. A lot of daily study for sure. You gotta immerse yourself in that playbook. But once you know it, then you know it, and you don't have to keep looking at it. Once you know it, you're like, cool, I got it down. Now, with all the reps that you get in practice, you pick it up. You pick it up.
That's awesome. So that goes into another one of my questions here. So as far as like once you kind of do the install of the playbook, how much does that really change week to week? Are you guys adding new plays? Are you kind of getting rid of plays that you decide haven't really worked, or that how does that kind of, as your game plans develop and mature, how does that happen with the playbook?
So, like, your base set of plays, and like, this is what we want to run. And then once you get into the season aspect, every week the playbook changes. So we'll play a team, and let's say they run more of a three down and like a 3-3. So it's like, okay, we want to run the ball against these guys. We really want to focus heavy. So we may put in a lot of counter plays. We may put in a lot of duo plays. And then if we play another team the next week that's a heavy run stopper, we'll throw in a lot more play action plays, a lot more RPOs, a lot more different passes. So it really does change week to week, and just depending on your offensive coordinator, they could just be creating completely new plays. We have a lot of plays in our install, so usually it's just about what plays we want to use for each team. But there's definitely weeks where we just create new plays for a certain team, because we want to create certain types of matchups, and we feel like this sort of scheme will work better against the type of zones that they run. So it really does change week to week, just based on who you're playing.
Sounds yeah. I understand that. So let's get a little bit more personal. What made you fall in love with football? Right? What made you want to continue the sport in the college level or even play in high school?
Yeah, that's another great question. I feel like I was born loving football. I really do feel like it, because my parents, they put a football in my crib, and I don't remember living not loving football. Honestly, I would when I was little, I just would watch NFL Network all day, and that's the only thing I wanted to watch. I didn't want to watch cartoons. I didn't want to watch it. I just wanted to watch NFL Network all day. I had this little set of shoulder pads and a helmet that I would sleep in. It's awesome. That's all I've ever wanted to be. But I was really sad, because when I was 5 years old, 5 and 6, I wanted to play tackle football so bad, but I wasn't old enough. You had to be 7 years old to play. So my parents put me in t-ball, and I would wear the eye black that all the football players wear, and I looked like a football player. I wanted to play football so bad. T-ball was cool, but I didn't want to play. I wanted to play football. And I just remember being 7 years old, starting my first season, and just being so happy. It was everything that I wanted. I just wanted to be out there and be like all the players that I wanted to watch. And ever since 7, I started playing, and I played. I played every year since I was 7. Some years they started doing a spring league in my city when I hit like 11, I think. So I would play basically year-round football, that's a lot of football. But I would play year-round football, and then kept playing and played it all in high school, and then was fortunate enough to be able to play in college. So yeah, I've always loved football ever since I can remember.
That's awesome. Honestly, I feel like to play at the level you're playing at, you have to love football, but not just football itself, like the sport, but every aspect of it. You know, the practice, the studying, the weight room, getting better every single day. To be at the level you're playing at. You have to love every aspect of that. Is what I believe. You kind of get feel the same way too.
Oh, definitely. If you don't love it, the guys who don't love football at this level, you get weeded out because if you there's so much more than just football. You only have 11, 12 games that are guaranteed, and that's all you have. But year round, you're doing way more lifts. You're doing running. The lifts and the running, the off-season conditioning that we do, it's really hard and it sucks. Like we wake up, we have to be there by 5:45. We have mandatory weigh-ins. We have hydration tests. We have all bunch of stuff that you have to do. You're waking up early and it's dark outside. In Flagstaff, it snows a lot. So this winter conditioning, I have a little electric scooter, so I'm trying to ride that in the snow on the way to our facility. And I'm just like, oh man, if you don't love it, you get weeded out. There's just too much to do. It's too hard. All the film you got to watch, all the different meetings. For me, I it's hard for sure, but I there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. You only have so long to play football, so I'm trying to ride it out and play as long as I possibly can. But yeah, the guys who don't love football, you get weeded out. It truly is just too hard, and everybody else is too good. It's not like in high school where you could be the best guy in your city, and that's great. You're the best football player on your team, and that's really cool. That's really awesome. But you get to college, and everybody's like that. Everybody was all state. Everybody was MVP, first team all conference. That's everybody here. Everybody was good. Even the preferred walk-ons that they bring in, everybody's good. They were somebody. They were the guy where they're from. So you're on a team with a bunch of guys, and so if you don't love it, you're not going to survive.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's got to be true, man. So, let's get to kind of a funner question. You play running back. If you would have to pick another position, where would you go?
Ooh. I've always wanted to be a quarterback. Being a quarterback is just, I think it's the coolest thing I practice. I'm always messing around, acting like I'm a quarterback and taking pretend drops and faking handoffs after practice. If I could be another position, it would be quarterback. They're the coolest guys. They have the hardest job, and I don't want to learn the whole playbook like they have to learn it. But being a quarterback would be super cool. I would love that. I don't know if I have the arm for it, but it would be cool.
So we can expect some halfback passes then in the playbook this upcoming year. Is what you're saying?
Some Christian McCaffrey.
You're like, I'm good for like a 10-yard pass, and that's about it. I'll get too nervous. Anything longer than that, I'll probably get nervous and just run it.
There we go. Awesome, awesome. So another question, I'm curious. What are you superstitious at all? Like, do you have like lucky socks you wear every single game, or what's kind of like your game day routine? Like, do you do the same thing every single game day as you prepare to, are you superstitious at all? Just walk us through your game day routine.
I don't feel like I'm a very superstitious person, honestly. I could really just be relaxing the night before. I don't have to listen to anything really crazy. I don't have a game day playlist. I could really listen to anything. It's just whatever mood I'm feeling for that day. That's I'll just put on my shuffle on my phone and just whatever I feel like listening to, whatever plays, it plays, and I'm cool with that. But like in the morning, I do have one thing. I have to do yoga before we get on the bus and drive to the stadium. I have to do yoga. That's just my go-to. And I feel like no matter what happens, if something crazy were to happen where the bus breaks down and we just have to go to the stadium and play, I'm already stretched and loosened up, so I'm good to go. That's just kind of how my brain works. Like it's kind of funny, but I have to do that, and as long as I do that, nothing else really matters. When I was in high school, I used to eat. When I was in high school, I would eat gummy bears. I had to brush my teeth before every game. I had to make sure everything was on point. But yeah, that's really the only thing. I'm not a very superstitious person. I just want to show up and I just want to play.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Let's go into. We've talked about how important it is to stay healthy and what you have to do. Let's go into the opposite of that spectrum. I'm sure sometime in the off season you have a cheat day. What is your cheat day meal? What are you eating that you throw away that nutrition guide and just say one day, one meal? sit me down.
Ooh, that's really good. I'm really bad at this too because on our off days, my wife will attest to this. my my wife will attest to this. When it's our off days, I'm ready to eat just anything. On my off days, I'm trying to go to McDonald's or Cane's, or we have a Five Guys right next to us. Five Guys is amazing. I love Five Guys. Any type of junk that we have in our house, like we have gummy bears right now, and today's Wednesday is our off day. I just downed so much of the bag of gummy bears today. I was down in it. I was down in it. Let's say a go-to cheat meal. I would say the Five Guys because it's right next to our house, and so my wife and I could just walk right over there. It's like a minute walk. Five Guys is really really good for me. That's my go-to. I love that place.
I love it. Five Guys is so good, but I feel like it's so expensive. So maybe they give you a discount because you're on the team. I don't know. We don't have to talk about it. You don't have to reveal your secrets, but you know, that's awesome. So
I was just gonna say building an In and Out right next to our house. So we might be going to In and Out a little bit more once they get that all built up. It might be a little less of Five Guys because they're a little cheaper right now.
got to do it. Got to save a buck as a college kid. You gotta save a buck. Even everybody got to save a buck with how things are right now. So that's awesome. So so you've been playing college football for a long time now. You've kind of been different places, different teams, different cities. What's been one of your most memorable experiences that you've had so far in your collegiate career?
So I have a couple. One of my favorite memories is when I was playing for BYU and we were playing against Idaho State. And that was the first game I registered that year, but that was the first game. That was the second game that I played in, but it was at BYU Stadium. I played against UMass, University of Massachusetts, but they didn't really have a lot of people there. It kind of was the game was kind of dead. We were beating them 50-0 at like halftime. But when we were playing against Idaho State, I got in on the second half and I remember running out onto the field and just being in that stadium, and it was completely full because it was homecoming, and I just was like, "Dang, I've really done it. This is what I dreamed about. Just playing major Division I football in a big time game. Like the stadium was completely full, and there was a bunch of people yelling, and I was like, "This is awesome. This is everything that I dreamed about." That was one of my favorite moments was that game. Just being able to play in it and get to contribute to our win that we had. That was really awesome for me. I think another one too was my first game of when I was at BYU. We played against the University of Utah, and it was in Provo, and that game was so loud. Everybody was cheering and screaming and going crazy, and and it was a real close game too. That was awesome. I just remember standing on the sidelines and just looking around, and I was like, "This is awesome." The crowd was completely full. Everybody was passionate. All the Utah fans, all the BYU fans. That those two. It was a special season for me. A lot of dreams came true that year.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Nothing better than college rivalries either. So that BYU Utah game is fierce. There's a lot of no love lost between those two programs. So that's super awesome.
Oh yeah. They take it pretty serious.
Very cool. All right, so let's talk about. You jumped around a little bit. You went to a couple different colleges. Let's talk about the transfer portal, right? It's becoming a bigger thing in college football right now, kind of shaking up. How scary? What's that about? Is that kind of a scary thing to enter the transfer portal and move to a different city, different state, different college?
The transfer portal, it can either be your best friend or your worst enemy because there's so many players that enter there. I believe the transfer portal opens up again here soon, and there's already like 3,000 kids in there. Like that's so many, and the numbers are like only 40% of those players are going to get a scholarship. It's really crazy and it's really rough and it's changed the entire landscape of recruiting. So when I entered the transfer portal, I got hit up by a lot of coaches, but recruiting is just so hard because they'll coaches will tell you certain things, but they're telling five different players from the same position the exact same thing. And they have boards and who's at the top of that board, and if they can get somebody higher, they will. So it's really rough, and it worked out for me. um I guess I wanted to go to another Division 1 school, but I ended up going to a junior college. But it was a cool experience. But yeah, it was stressful. It was stressful. I feel a little bad for high schoolers because it means that they're recruiting less high school kids. Like colleges are recruiting less high school kids. I was really worried for my brother because he's a senior in high school right now. He actually committed to NAU. He's going to serve a 2-year mission to Ecuador. He is going to come back and play for NAU. Yeah, we're super excited for him. He opened his call last week. We're super excited for him. My little brother's a dog. Um, but yeah, he's going to come here after his mission, and I was so happy for him. It's just because schools are taking less high school kids because you can have portal guys who a lot of dudes that get taken from the portal have played and have experience, and that game day experience is crucial. I mean, you can't replace that. So if you can bring in a dude that can help you right now, I mean, colleges are going to do that, and so that's just part of the business. And yeah, it could be rough out there. It could be rough out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's kind of a scary thing the more I think about it, but I'm glad it worked out for you, right?
Yeah, I'm super blessed. I'm super blessed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, so bringing up the mission, that was something I want to talk about too. Being at BYU, being a church school, for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What's the percentage of players that are actually return missionaries? So they decide to serve their 2-year mission after high school. They put off, for those of you who don't know, if you serve a mission for the church, you put off football, you put off academics, you put off work, you put off everything. You serve your 2-year mission at some place in the world, and then you come back and try to pick up where you left off, right? So, what percentage of the team when you were there were kind of RMs, and did you think that made like any difference? Do you think that hurt them in any way? Do you think it helped them? As kind of guy that was in there, what are your thoughts on that?
I would say when I was there, at least 60% of the team was RMs. At least 60%. There's a large portion. Um, I think it's an advantage personally because you have a lot of guys. They're going somewhere for 2 years, whether it's foreign or stateside. You're going somewhere that is unfamiliar to you for 2 years, and you're preaching the gospel. You're talking about religion to strangers. That's such a hard thing to do. And you're living by yourself. You have a companion, but you're on yourself. No mom and dad anymore to take care of you. And I didn't serve a mission, but I know that's a tough thing to do. And so when guys come back from that, they are so mature. I feel like BYU, and I'm sure it's this way still now, it's a very player led team because everybody is so mature. And there's so many guys around. Even if you didn't serve a mission, you just buy into the culture there. And the culture is very like you take care of yourself, you handle yourself like a professional. Your teammates check you if you're not competing to the standard, if you're not living to the standard. So you have a physical standard you have to live by and a spiritual standard. And you have guys, everybody there is trying to live to that standard. So if you're not living to that standard, guys will put you in place and like, hey, what's going on, man? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? So it's very player led as opposed to coach led. So I feel like that's why they have a lot of success is because it's the players leading everything and the coaches are there to facilitate, but the players are in charge and they take care of each other. So everybody comes back more mature and kind of has a deeper appreciation for things as well. There's not as much complaining. That like everybody's grateful to be there. Everybody wants to be there. And for the guys who aren't on scholarship that are there, it's a lot of them it's their dream school. They grew up wanting to be a Cougar and they put in that much extra effort because this is they're living their dream. So it's a very great culture, and I feel like that's why they have a lot of success.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good insight. I wouldn't have known any of that about return, the RMs, return missionaries, or the player led. That's interesting to think about. So let's I'm just going to give you a chance to shout out who are the best players that you've played with at any of the 3 schools that you've went to, who is just stands above, the cream of the crop.
I think, I played with Zach Wilson and I played with Jaron Hall, and those are 2 dogs. Those guys are awesome. I was fortunate enough to play with a lot of great players at BYU. Kyrus Tonga, Mason Wake. He's a fullback and tight end over there. He's really good. I played with Ben Bywater. He's a linebacker over there that's doing really good. Competed against Keenan Peely a lot. He was a linebacker at BYU. He just transferred to Tennessee. He's pretty good. Clark Barrington, he just transferred to Baylor. He's really good. And out here we have a lot of dogs. Coleman Owen, he's a receiver. He's really, really good. Drayson Hall, he's another running back. He's a dog. He's also a LDS and a return missionary. Just a great guy. And yeah, we got a lot of dogs on our team. I've been fortunate enough to play with a lot of really good players and been able to see a lot of really good competition. I played with Tyler Algier, who's killing it with the Falcons and such a great dude. Lapini Katoa, he was another running back over there. I think he just finished up. And Tyson Williams, he was with the Ravens for a little bit, and he believe he finished the season with the Cardinals. He's really good. He taught me a lot of good things. So I've been around a lot of great players. I'm super lucky.
That's awesome. So appreciate the time, Alec. Just kind of wrap up things here, just real quick. Want to get you to kind of lay down some expectations. What are kind of some expectations that you have, for yourself for this upcoming season? Goals that you've been working on and progressing towards that you hope to accomplish this season.
Yeah, for me, the first thing I want to do is it's my senior year. I want a ring. I want to win a ring so bad. I want to win a Big Sky championship. It's definitely tough to do. We got some tough competition in our conference. Sacramento State, and I believe it was Sacramento State, and there's another team who were the Big Sky champions this year. They're Montana State. Montana State and Sacramento State. They won the Big Sky championship last year, and they're both really good. They kind of we played against Montana State last year, and we played them really tough. We lost to them in the last minute by, I believe it was like 3 points. We have the talent to do it. We played against some top teams and really competed well. We just have to finish better. So my main thing is I want to win a Big Sky championship, and if we win a Big Sky championship, we'll be in the playoffs. And then who knows what can happen in the playoffs. Make it in, and then you never know what can happen. So that's my main goal for this year is just winning a Big Sky championship. That would mean the world to me.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool to hear. People that want to win, right? That's what this is about. The people that have that extra energy to win. Thank you for enlightening us with the day to day and how the struggle but the fun part of playing college football. Very grateful for your time today.
Absolutely, thank you guys.
Alec, I just have one last question before we let you go. You can answer it, you cannot answer it. It's up to you, okay? But I gotta ask it.
There you go. What you got?
Did Zach Wilson ever talk to you about your mom?
No, thankfully he did not. Nope, all good. My mom's all good.
Oh, good. You know what? I'm glad to hear that. Alex, seriously, bro, appreciate you more than you know for joining us. This was you should feel honored. This was the first interview we've done here at All Things Football, so appreciate you joining us, and good luck the rest of the season, bro. Excited to kind of watch your journey here, and hopefully have you back on then in the future.
Yeah, but the next time I'll have to get some merch. I'll get some merch shipped all the way up from Iowa. I'll get, but the next time I'll have it.
Here we go. We'll have to send you some stuff.
There we go. Well, so Alec, again, good luck, and here we go. You can kiss my axe.
I love it. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.